Check, check, check. Sure, checking all the things. Hello. Hi, Melissa. How are you? I'm checking things like my audio and my video and now my hair. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the Witchy Weather Report. How are we feeling? I'm doing this without headphones today because I don't know, I'm free and untethered. I'm going to be reading to you from the Tarot of the Abyss today. Look at this beautiful black and white line art. This is a deck I got last summer, and it's become one of my favorites to read with because it's just so stark and so beautiful. How are we feeling? Good morning. All right, let me make sure that all the streams are going. Let me get my banners up. If you're new to the Witchy Weather Report, here is what we do. Every usually the last weekend of the month, I go live for just an hour, and I tell you about the energy of the moment, and then I pull cards for as many people as I can get to. We're only live for 45 minutes this month because I have a tarot class to get to. Some of you are in that tarot class. It's Keys to the Kingdom. So tarot class will be starting at noon, and yeah. So hence we'll be going to 11:45 today. Thank you very, very much. I'm resisting cutting the bangs because I have a policy of only cutting them on Mercury retrograde because this is who I am as a person, and I think it's funny, but they're getting kind of long. But it's working. I don't know. Anyway, let me see if Facebook is going because I don't see comments from Facebook yet, and I want to make sure everything is a-okay. Facebook.com. So we're going for 45 minutes today. I will first pull a card for everybody, and after that, oh good, it's showing right up. I love when things are easy. It's always magical. Let me switch to Sassafras Tarot so that I can control the thing. And if you would like a card today, you can put a cat in the chat. That is our secret code. We drop a cat in the chat, or you can write the word meow. And the reason we do that is because when someone's like, hey, can you pull a card for me too? Please, what happens is it's like honey. It's like a jar of honey to spammers and scammers, and they just all come in hordes and they try to get your money, and they're not me. Like if you ever have someone in the chat who's like, DM me, I will give you your reading, send me money. That's not me. I do these readings, they're freely offered. You're welcome to tip me. The virtual tip jar is in the link in my bio, so you can't be confused. But I'm never going to be like, DM me, that's not a thing. That's not how I do business. So, because tarot scammers are unfortunately all over the friggin' internet. And that's very sad. Yeah. So we put a cat emoji in the chat, or we write the word meow if we would like a card. And I'm going to get going for realsies in one moment. I'm just putting also to protect from spammers and scammers. I'm setting this post on Facebook so that only established followers can see it. Oh, I love it. You have a question. Yes, if you have a specific question for your thing, please, for your card pull, just let me know because I would absolutely love to answer it for you. And or to give you a lecture on what makes a good question for a tarot reader. I've given some of those in the past. Yeah. Okay. I'm done with my Facebooking. I see Judith. I see Margaret. Hello, cat in the chat. Hello. Welcome, welcome. I love that people are tuned in on different platforms. I've got some folks on Facebook. I've got some folks on YouTube. Your soulmate ghost has reappeared. That's so mysterious, Margaret, and I love it. Oh wait, that's not mysterious because I actually know that you mean that in a literal way. Well, that's kind of wonderful. How do you feel about that? Cheers, everybody. It's a good time for me to ask my standard 3 questions before we get going in earnest with the broadcast. Question number 1. Where are you tuned in from? I am broadcasting from my feminist fairy cave. I have my self-care succulents behind me. Question number 2. What you sipping on today? I am sipping on tea, Earl Grey, hot. It's actually so hot that I might not take a sip right now, because I don't want to have a lava experience. Question number 3, how are you feeling today? And I want the real answer, not the polite answer. We support each other on my broadcast. We are a safe space. I am feeling a little bit draggled, to be honest with you, but I'm feeling excited. It's a very busy weekend. It's all things that are good and that I want in my life. It's just all of them at once. It's big Eight of Wands energy. And for folks who are in my tarot class, we're about to go through wands and you'll learn what that means today. It's a good vibe, but it's a lot at once. Hi, Claire Bear. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Okay, so, um, oh, Melissa's saying hi to you, Margaret, over from Instagram. I love how we have this like cross-pollination. I'm on 4 different platforms right now, so if one of the streams isn't going so well, and you would like to try another platform, you can. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and it's all at Sassafras Tarot. It's all the same. I am shuffling. I've been teaching a tarot class, so all of my decks, I'm also like, I'm disorganized. Put it that way. My desk is disorganized. All of my decks have like segments of the deck pulled out so I could go through it for tarot class. So I'm like, oh, I gotta shuffle these. Tune in from Huntington, drinking water, feeling good for the first time in 6 weeks. I'm so glad to hear it. I'm so glad. How has your recovery been? It must have been rough. So today is the 24th of February. It is also the new moon. All right, no, I'm sorry. I lied. Full moon, other side of moon. It's the full moon. I was looking at it last night. It's a beautiful moon with a circle around it. And the full moon is a good time. Right at the full moon is a great time to kind of like put our energy out there, final push, anything we've been brewing, like put it out there powerfully. And then as the moon, so it is a good time for manifesting, and it's a good time for like showing yourself to the world in a big powerful way. And as the moon wanes, it then is a good time for letting go, for releasing, for finishing up loose ends. It's a good time to move into the dark period as the moon is getting darker. And that's kind of a sacred experience that we don't value very much in our current capitalist obsessed Western culture, like the slowdown period. And that's actually a sacred respite and a sacred part of our lives. So I invite you over the coming weeks to ask yourself how you can slow down, how you can honor your own darkness. And now as the moon is full, be your big, loud, bold self. Like allow yourself to have that moment and then allow yourselves to recover from it. This is my invitation to you. Recovery was eye-opening. Glad to be back with the living. I'm glad to have you back. I'm very, very glad. Trying super hard to focus on the waning and waxing this cycle. I will tell you, Melissa, when I was like getting back into folk magic in my early 30s, I guess, my gateway drug was the moon. It really started with the full moon, and I would go out and talk to the full moon every month. And then I started paying attention to when the new moon was, because if I know when the full moon is, and the new moon's about 2 weeks away from that, and I just started following the moon cycles, and I just started allowing them to be a part of my life and taking walks and talking to the moon. And I grew into this weirdo. And it was very healing for me at the time. I really needed a friend, and my moon was my friend. So, strongly recommend just tuning into the waning and the waxing. If you are watching and you enjoy the Witchy Weather Report, I invite you to like throw us a share it with your community, give it a share on a Facebook post, whatever. Let people know that you're tuned in, because I always want to grow this community and bring more humans to it. Hello, Savannah. How are you? Welcome. All right. I'm shuffling and I'm going to pull our Witchy Weather Report card. This card is going to be for the energy of the next month or so. So let's see what we can bring to that next month to really allow ourselves to support our own highest good, to grow in the direction we are meant to grow, to heal if we need healing. Who doesn't need healing? Good meowing. Hi, Brittany. How are you? Margaret tuned in, really confused in a bemused way. Well, I'm here for that. I'm here for that. I live my life confused and bemused, and it's not the worst experience. Okay, this month's card. Brittany, you got your wish. This month's card is the Five of Pentacles, which I know I actually saw someone just pulled in Sassafriends and wrote a post about it. The Five of Pentacles, let's talk about this energy. We're talking about winter continuing longer than we perhaps want it to, and it's not just the winter of the weather, it's the winter of our hearts. I don't know what the groundhogs did. I'm just telling you what the tarot cards are saying. It's the winter of the struggles that we've been moving through this winter, not just weather, in our personal lives. Um, Still being something that we need to grapple with day by day. This doesn't mean we're miserable the whole time. It does mean we need to show up and acknowledge what's going on for us. We need to show up and acknowledge what's hard about our lives rather than living in denial. Not because we want to throw ourselves into negativity, but because until we acknowledge a problem, we cannot begin to solve it. And if we've been living in denial about something that is causing us to not feel stable, that is causing us to not feel whole, that is causing us to not be our happiest, healthiest selves, if we're in denial and we're like, no, it's okay, I can do it, and we're kind of sucking it up, that isn't actually helping us. That's like a toxic bypassing energy. What we actually need to do is acknowledge what is wrong so that we can set about the work of making it right. If something is going wrong with your finances and that's been an ongoing situation for a while, it's time to take an honest look at it and a calm look. It's not time to panic. It's time for you to take a calm look at our situation and say, okay, here's what's wrong. What baby step can I take today to make things right? And we have to have that moment every day for this cycle to allow ourselves, or every day ish, I'm not trying to give you homework. We have to allow ourselves to begin to solve the things that are affecting us negatively rather than hoping the universe will solve them for us. And that's maybe a hard pill to swallow, and that's how it is right now. The energy is asking for help if we need help. The energy is considering options we may not have wanted to consider, but now things are, intense enough that we may have to consider them. The answer is thinking outside the box and creatively seeking solutions to our problems. And if we're not sure how to do that, if we've been in denial because we're like, I don't know how to fix my problems though, then it's time for us to allow ourselves to simply accept where we are at and begin with the very, very basics. Here's what's going on. Here's what's wrong. Here's what's hurting. Here's what's imperfect about the situation. Here's where I'm struggling. And to move into, um, as we kind of get that on paper and get our thoughts out, to move into one step at a time, making things a little better. We probably can't solve everything at once. We don't have to, though, right? We've been living with this for a while, and now we can begin to undo it instead of just sitting there and letting it get worse. That's the energy of the Five of Pentacles. This looks like asking for help. This looks like admitting there are ways we are weak. This looks like admitting there are ways we're not perfect and we don't have it all together, because when we make those vulnerable admissions to ourselves, we have an opportunity to heal. Just like when we hit a bottom, the only way is up. Twitch is being bad weird. Recommend okay, you've moved to YouTube. Great. Yeah, if you're watching from anywhere and there's a badness, just feel free to switch to another place. Different platforms have all their different idiosyncrasies. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitch. So that's the energy of the moment. It's the Five of Pentacles. Hey Jen, welcome. How are you? And good question. Ondine says, Jesus fucking Christ. What happens? I curse on this broadcast, by the way. What happens when too many things are wrong? The answer is, like, pick the wrongest one. Pick the wrongest one, get your thoughts down, and we're going to just methodically work on things this month. We don't, let's save ourselves from feeling like we have to fix everything. And instead, let's commit that what we will do is try our best to improve the situation one step at a time. So if we can take one tiny step of improvement, that's a win, and we let that be our win for the day, and we try for one tiny step tomorrow. 1% better every day actually achieves dramatic results. So if we allow ourselves to think about that way, then we have a mindset of progress. Then instead of the toxic positivity being like, everything's fine, I don't need to change everything, it's an abundant universe, we have actual positivity, we have actual healthy growth, where we're saying everything is not fine, but I am a resourceful individual and I can take things one step at a time to make it a little bit better every day. And when we have a growth mindset and we're able to watch that growth happen, it's very powerful because what you focus on grows. Okay, okay. I'm considering whether I should plug in my wired internet because I realized I didn't, but it looks like my Wi-Fi is like being okay. Okay. If there's ever any issue with the stream quality in more than one place, let me know. I see someone had a trouble on Twitch and just moved to YouTube, and if it's working on YouTube, great. Okay, so that's our energy for right now. I am going to go over to my Discord for my patrons because I always invite my patrons to ask a question first. I make them a little post earlier than the Witchy Weather Report and give them an opportunity to pull cards. That's like one of the benefits of being a patron of mine. They show me love, I show them love. And if you ever want to become a patron, it's patreon.com/sassafras tarot, which is where I'm going right now. So that I can make sure to get everybody's questions who's already asked. Okay. So we have a question from Grayson and we have a question from Jen. Then we'll get to everyone else who's in the chat. Grayson says, I would like a card, please. What do I need to consider when deciding whether to get a part-time job? Thanks. I want my tarot students and everyone, if you're interested in learning the tarot, to pay attention to what a great question this is. Grayson always asks great questions, and I always compliment them on this because their questions are specific and actionable and allow them to have a resourceful stance. It's not, what's going to happen? Because then you're at the mercy of fate. That's not a very useful question. But the question is, what do I need to consider when deciding whether to get a part-time job? And I will share, we just had for all of us, our card right now is the Five of Pentacles. It's a stressful card. That's a card of lack. It's a card of struggle. And the questions we need to be asking ourselves in the next month isn't, what's going to happen? Is fate going to decide for me? It's, what do I need to understand? And what's a small way I can move forward, and what energy can I bring to this day? Because if we have those questions, then we have actionable things we can do about our situation instead of feeling helpless. So, what does Grace need to consider when deciding whether to get a part-time job? I love this question. It's so specific. We have the Three of Pentacles. Grace, and what you need to consider, well, two things. For starters, you need to consider your own what's the best way to put this? Your own resourcefulness, your own ability to take care of yourself, and the fact that you don't do that in a vacuum, the fact that you're a human being and like every other human being, you need help in your life. And I don't see that in the, like a negative way, like you need help, like we all need help, right? We are not islands. We all need to do things in our own way, and many hands make light work, as illustrated by this card. When everyone is tugging on the rope, things move along more quickly. So I want you to consider, are there areas in your life with this added situation of a part-time job where you will need a little extra help, where maybe it makes sense to delegate something, where maybe something you were taking on for your family or for your community now makes sense to either outsource or reduce your commitment to, so that you don't become overwhelmed and burnt out. I also suggest that in the actual workplace you're considering, if you're interviewing with a place, if you're considering working at a particular place, that you consider what teamwork looks like there. Is every employee kind of a desperate island, or is everyone helping each other? It's really, if you're certain places, you can see this really easily when you go in for an interview, and certain places you can't. You know, you can tell kind of the mood of the office. Is everyone running around stressed in their own individual struggle, or are people helping each other? Are people like showing up for each other? Are people joking and chatting and like showing kindness to each other, giving themselves the resource of kindness mutually? Or is everyone kind of stressed and blaming each other a little bit? We want to aim for the former. We want to aim for that kind-hearted teamwork energy. That is a healthy atmosphere for you to work in. We don't want to put you into an atmosphere where their burnout's going to rub off on you and become your burnout. So those are the things you want to consider when looking at a job. And for those of you who are my tarot students, which is several of you, I invite you to think about how interesting it was to have that question. The Three of Pentacles is a card that we all know and we've studied, and how it applies very directly to that situation. That is the essence of being a good tarot reader, is connecting those dots. Thank you so much, Savannah. Savannah says, your hair is amazing wavy today. Thank you very much. I actually gave myself a layer cut. I have less hair than I usually do. I still have plenty of hair, as you can see, but I really feel like it's really brought my waves out. Anyway, thanks. I appreciate you noticing. I've been on a wavy journey. Next up, we have a question from Jen, and Jen says, is there something I need to watch out for in March? Another great question. So we've had two really good questions so far, and they've both been like, the essence is, what do I need to consider? What do I need to understand? And this is the crux of like why I love the tarot, because knowledge is power. And these questions are saying, what not, like, give me the knowledge so I have the power, right? When we have the knowledge, we have power. Hello, welcome. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I see Jamie or Jami Catherine. Hello, welcome. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but I just want to say hi. Thank you for tuning in today. Friends, if you've tuned in recently and haven't already, if you'd like a card pull, we're going until a quarter to the hour today. We're going to 11:45 Eastern Time. If you'd like a card pull, drop a cat in the chat. Let me know. That is our secret code to let me know that you would like a card. If I seem like I'm talking a mile a minute, that's why I want to get to everybody. Okay. So Jen's question, is there something I need to watch out for in March? Wonderful question. Jen, the answer is the Six of Swords. There are opportunities in March for dramatic change in your life and or the lives of those around you. The Six of Swords is a card of rescue, and I want to ask you, who do you relate to? Who do you relate to in this card? Do you relate to the bird carrying this person away to freedom? Do you relate to the person kind of clinging to the back of this big bird, flying safely over the, stressful, gigantic tsunami waves that are happening beneath? Do you relate to this other bird that's just hanging out in the distance, watching everything unfold? Who do you relate to in this card? Because that's an interesting question to ask yourself as we consider the Six of Swords, which is a card of rescue. It's a card of refuge. It's a card of pulling yourself or someone out of a difficult situation, the bird and the person. So you're bothie. You're a self-rescuing princess this month. So what I invite you to consider is that your problems are solvable, and that yes, it probably will be dramatic. It's not solvable in terms of like, well, maybe if I just put a smile on my face and act positive. It's not that kind of solution. It's the kind of solution that requires paying attention to the situation, knowing when a situation is really too much for you, is not right for you, is toxic for you, and actively pulling yourself out of that situation. And sometimes that requires permission. Sometimes that requires us to say to ourselves, I don't owe it to anyone to suffer this way. I think I'm going to just share that mantra with everybody, because if we all have our struggles, and I want you to remember next time you feel like you're really struggling, I don't owe it to anyone to suffer this way. And that's a way to give ourselves permission to save ourselves, to give ourselves permission to get out of a crappy situation. Because, yeah, we want to be good people. We want to be troopers. We want to show up for what's right and care for our friends, but we don't owe it to anybody to suffer. Nobody wants us unhappy. Nobody wants us to suffer. And if anyone actually does, they're a bad person and we shouldn't listen to them. So remember, you don't owe it to anyone to suffer this way. When you notice that you are suffering, it's time to get instant clarity and say, okay, I'm giving myself a moment of clarity here. What do I need? What needs to change right now? And do your utmost to give it to yourself. Be a self-rescuing princess this month. And that can be big and small. It can be like, I need rescuing from this conversation. It sucks. And then you can realize, I can excuse myself from this conversation. I don't have to be in it for an hour. I can say, you know what, I have somewhere to be. We'll have to catch up later if a conversation is too much for you. If there's a situation that's really dire, you can call someone in to help you. You can recuse yourself and say, I'm sorry, this is beyond my bandwidth at this time. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to take yourself out of the game when there's a too much for you going on. Thank you. Savannah says, I don't owe it to anyone to suffer. Damn, that is powerful. I'm writing that down. Credit to you. Good. Good. Because you don't. You do not owe it to anyone to suffer. Okay. We're doing a hydration checkpoint. I'm taking a sip of tea, and then I'm going to get to people's cards in the order that they requested them. This is my tea, Earl Grey. We'll see how hot it is. It's drinkable. I'm not dying. That's great. Meow. Hello, Shelby King. How are you? Okay. I am scrolling up on Instagram. Who's got a meowy cat? We got Mary Jane. And Mary Jane, I know, had a particular question. I'm like scrolling through the comments, and Instagram like wants me to make a comment. This is my cat in the chat. I can't find the cat emoji. That's okay. So we got Mary Jane and Melissa and Ondine. Okay, so Mary Jane had a question. Where's the photography going? Love that question. Mary Jane, Melissa Ondine, I'm telling you all so that in hopes I'll remember. Okay. Shuffling for you, Mary Jane. Where is the photography going? You know, I was just thinking of you the other day because a friend of mine shared a photo that they took at the one of the local like botanical gardens or somethings in the area, and they were like, I only had black and white film and I have to go back with full color, and I was like, that reminds me of Mary Jane, like spooky flowers. Like it was really cool to be like, oh, this reminds me of my friend's style, and it was just special, you know, to have that moment with another friend who is an artist I admire. So Mary Jane, where is the photography going? The devil. Where is the photography going? You're being invited to use your art to express the shit that you're working out in your soul right now. You are invited to use your art to show up for the dark stuff, to show up for the hard stuff, which I know you already do in your poetry and your photography, but that's where the photography is going. You are meant at this time to be the person who shows up and shines a light on what's hard. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but when we do that, we give ourselves and others permission to heal. When we shine a light with our art on, like, this is what's wrong. This is what hurts. This is what I can't figure out. When we shine a light with our art on that, other people who struggle in the same way are like, me fucking too. And in a weird way, everyone feels healed. And when we get people together in that way, art is a special connector. When people feel connected in that way, they feel more empowered because as soon as we know we're not struggling alone, we're like, oh, there's other people around me. I don't have to do this alone. And everything gets a little easier. It's easier for us to breathe. It's easier for us to think of solutions. So that's where the photography is going. Like, use your art to honor your darkness at this time because it will connect you with other people who are experiencing the same darkness. You might notice that this person is like trapped and is trapped by the tendrils of a heart. This is like they're tied up by their own heart. They're an angel and they're trying to get off the ground and they can't because their feelings are so difficult and complicated. This is a really interesting take on this card. Um, and it's about like their feelings, their inner darkness, their trauma, making it challenging for them to feel free. Shine a light on that because that might actually be how you free yourself and others. That might be your gift. By the way, you're getting a compliment. Claire's like, I love the spooky flowers over on Facebook. Tea, Earl Grey, not too hot. Love it. Okay, Melissa had a question, and the question is, how am I approaching dating and my love life this month? Because why not? I love that question, Melissa, because why not? How are you approaching them? You're approaching them as the hermit, Melissa. I am going to invite you to just be yourself. First of all, be your weirdest self. Um, this doesn't necessarily mean don't do any dating, you know, but it does mean do dating only thoughtfully and only in a way that serves you. You're number one. You're in charge at this time. You're the person whose light you need in your life right now. You don't actually need other people's input. You need your own input, and spending too much time with other humans who, especially in the dating world where you're talking with humans who may or may not really know you well, you know, um can muddy the water for you at this time. Right now, you get your own clarity by looking honestly at yourself, by looking honestly at what you know works for you. I know you have a deep and deepening spiritual practice and a deep and deepening creative practice. And looking honestly at yourself in that way is where you get the answers you need. So I'm not telling you like date or don't date, but I'm telling you that like what you need is within. What you need is in your self-care and is in your time with yourself, and make that time with yourself meaningful rather than simply recovery. All right, we got Ondine up next, looking to see if Ondine had any questions. Um, tuned in from Staten Island, going for my second cup of coffee. Frankly, feeling pretty blue. Everyone, please send some love to Ondine, because she deserves love and she deserves good energy. Um, I'm just scrolling through these things. Um, Surviving Catterday, miss your butt. Shelby, I love you. You're delightful. Mary Jane has such a rad style. Correct, I agree. Mary Jane says, I love this. This is so inspiring. Ondine says, Dear God, I feel that imagery. I'm just reading comments as I go. I apologize. Shelby King coming in clutch with the real shit. The devil brings gifts we're reluctant to receive. Write that shit down, anyone who resonates with it, because that's amazing. The devil brings gifts we're reluctant to receive. Wowie. Wowie pants. Melissa, tarot just keeps telling me, shut the fuck up. I know what I'm doing, and I'm sorry, universe, for asking. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Um, I mean, I don't think it's telling you to shut the fuck up. I think it's encouraging you. I think it's like you have the answers, you have the power. Take the power, bitch. Okay, don't worry, I'll get to you, Shelby. You're on deck after Ondine, and I know I have other folks in the other chat, and don't worry, I'll get to all of you. And that's why I'm talking fast today. Um, okay, I'm in desperate need to get some things done in my house. How do I get the resources to do so? Again, this is a question I love because it acknowledges that it's not as easy as just doing it, and we're asking, what do I do to get myself better resourced? That's a great question. The question is the 7 of Cups. So I think make a list, prioritize. Right now, the 7 of Cups, this may feel familiar to you. You've got so much going on in your mind that it's very, very full and therefore very difficult to focus on any one thing. Prioritize to the best of your ability. Get it on paper. That can really help. Or get it on like digital paper. You know what I mean? Identify what's important and identify the resources you already have. Like, let's do some list making. I'm a fucking Virgo, so you know I'm going to tell you to make a list. Let's do some list making though. Let's identify like what do I need to have happen, and maybe like if it feels impossible, then let's write down why does it feel impossible? Why does it feel like I can't do it? And in doing so, that might identify some things we need. And then we can make a list of all our resources, the people we know, the things we already know, the things we've done in the past. And when we find one thing we can do, that's the thing to do. When we're like, okay, I really need, I don't know, someone who knows how to repair this kind of dishwasher. That's a thing that comes up for me because people just want you to buy a whole new dishwasher instead of repair it. And I don't want to buy a whole new dishwasher. If it's like, okay, that's what I need, well, then you have a really good point to start some research. Like, you're like, okay, well, I can ask around, I can look online, I can do those things, right? So make a list, get it on paper, get it out of your brain because it's flying around in there like a bunch of birds and it's just too much for any one person. Get it on paper so that you can use your own resourcefulness to look at what is and determine what the next step is. And that's literally all you have to do every day. Look at what is, what's the next step? I invite you to pick the low-hanging fruit. What's the easy next step? Don't tackle the hard thing first, because then you might never get to the easy thing. That's silly. Tackle the easy things first. And while you're doing it, the hard thing might get easier. Let the universe be on your side in this way. Okay? Okay. Melissa's saying, love lists. Shelby King saying, this deck's images hit me hard. Yeah, I feel you. By the way, you're getting love in the chat from other places. Ondine, Judith is telling you, hang in there. You're getting hearts. So I just want you to know you're not struggling alone. Okay, Shelby had a really interesting question. I need help to navigate other people's funhouse mirrors. I love that. I love that question. I love Shelby always has like really really poetic phrasing because they are a poet. Help to navigate others' funhouse mirrors. Do y'all intuitively know what this means? If you don't, I'll kind of share. It's like we're all projecting on ourselves and other people all the time. We can't help it. We all have our own psychology, right? And when we see that other people are not seeing us or not seeing themselves clearly, and we want to be kind to those people and engage with them, how do, right? That's the question here, really. So let's pull a card for you for how to navigate that. And I like that your question is how to navigate it, because you're not asking how do I fix it, because it's not your job to fix other people's shit. It's just your job to be able to navigate your interactions in a way that is healthy for you, and like upholds your beliefs and values. And the answer is the 9 of Pentacles. Shelby, the time right now is to focus on yourself, and especially to focus on how resourceful you are, and to resource yourself by noticing how resourced you already are. I know that sounds a little like toxic positivity, but let me explain. I'm going to tell you to make another list. I want you to make a list of where you've been and where you are. I want you to make a bunch of like comparison sentences. You could do this as poetry, you could do it as a list, you could do whatever you want. But I want you to think about where you were a year ago today. and where you are now, and I want you to really give yourself full credit. Like, I want you to like be like you're like a teacher, right? And you like look at where you were and where you are, and you're giving yourself a good grade about this, and you're like allowing yourself to say, like, you're writing the report card for Shelby King, like, okay, well, Shelby King was a pleasure to have in class, and they really persevered through this and this challenge, and the way that they persevered was through this. They drew on this resource, they drew on this natural strength, they drew on this ability, they drew on this external resource. This is what they did. And I want you to just like look at how far you've come, because accepting and believing that you have come this far, which is really easy because you did, is what gets you to accepting and believing you can move forward. And right now, your focus needs to be on you. Your focus doesn't need to be about other people. Just like let them have their funhouse mirrors. Your job is to see you more clearly. Your job is to get out of the funhouse mirror that tells you other people have such a tremendous impact on your life, because the truth is, the biggest person who has impact on your life, the person who has the most impact, is you. And when we are able to acknowledge that, then we can do a great deal of healing. And you already have subconsciously been doing that. And now is a time to make that conscious, to bring it very much into reality, to appreciate yourself as is, and make it and continue to take these practical steps that I know you've been taking. Much different from a year ago, much different from a year before that. I've got the power, 1,000,000%. I love it. Look at this little adorable bird that you're holding, like little burb. That bird is your heart, it's your inner child. You have nurtured yourself this far, and you can continue to do so. You are self-rescuing princess. That's the vibe today. Okay, okay. All right. Who else do we have? I love you back. Okay, I know we got a few more people and we got about 10 minutes left. So let's see. Cat in the chat. So we got Margaret. Then we got Judith and Claire. Do you have a cat? You probably have a cat in there. I don't see one from Claire yet, but she's put a cat. Okay, so Margaret, Judith, Claire, Brittany. I think that's everyone. Savannah says that she doesn't want a card. Valid. Thank you, Savannah. Thank you for just showing up and bringing the vibes. I love you. I'm so grateful that you're in my community. No card for me. I'm just here for the vibes. You are the vibes. Thank you for being the vibes. Oh, hi, Carol. How are you? I had a cat. I had a cat. Okay, and Carol is in there too. Good. Okay, so I'm gonna take the first three and then we'll move forward because my brain. So we got Margaret, then Judith, and then Claire, and then don't worry, I'll get to everybody. Okay, okay. I don't think I saw specific questions in there, so I'm just pulling you cards. Thank you all so much. We're going only till 11:45 today, so that's why I'm a bit rushed. Because folks who are in Keys to the Kingdom, our tarot class starts at noon. And it will be promptly at noon. Usually I open the Zoom room a little bit early, but as you can see, I'm busy this morning, so it'll be right at noon this week. Margaret the Hermit, you are asked to be your own wisdom at this time. You are asked not to seek external sources of wisdom, but to seek wisdom within. You're also, like, we have this woman contemplating a snake. So there's this element of when you see something unsettling, when you see a symbol you don't understand, or a sign you don't understand, or when something in your life happens that you're like, I don't know what to make of that, in yourself, around you, the answer is we don't panic, we look closer, you know? And it doesn't, like, if you got a snake, if you got something that feels a little nervous, don't get right up to the snake, don't let it bite you, but like, take a thoughtful look. It's time for you now to get thoughtful rather than fearful. And so that's what is advised at this time. Like, trust that your own wisdom will carry you through as an act of faith. So when you find that something is stressing you out, something is making you feel nervous, something is making you bristle and pull back, what you actually should be doing is paying close attention, because that is the next lesson you're meant to learn. And that's where you're like, oh, this is making me uncomfortable. I will give it my focus because I already know I have the resources to handle and learn from this. And you will begin to grow like a weed, which you've already frankly been doing in the time I've known you. And I suspect for much longer than that. I haven't known you for more than a few months, but, when we face what makes us uncomfortable with curiosity rather than avoidance, oh, we grow like a weed. So that is your job right now. When there are things that make you bristle, face them with curiosity rather than fear, and see what happens. Watch how your life changes. Oh, that's really interesting. The image makes me think of a staff transforming like Moses. Yeah, I can really see that. And the hermit is like a wise figure that might have a staff at some point. So that's really interesting. I really love that. Um, Melissa says, "Oh, me and Margaret both got the hermit." I low key really love this card. You know, I'm a Virgo and it's my card, so you know I love the hermit. Big fan. Other Brittany, who is not on, Brittany Lundberg, gave me a beautiful resin hermit pendant that is like, it's the kind of gift that I'm like, oh, you know me. It made me feel so good. I love the hermit. Big fan. Okay. Or the snake around the staff, the hospital symbol from the Greek healer. And Margaret, I know you are a healer. And sometimes we need to heal the healer. And that can be what a hermit card can be for someone who is a healing personality. Okay, Judith, next up, I'm pulling a card for you. Then we got Claire Bear on deck. And then don't worry, I know we got a couple more people. Don't worry, I got you. Judith, we have the Three of Swords. My friend, it's time to open your mind. It's time to reopen the book on shit that has kind of hurt your feelings and or left you confused in the past. This is the energy that's happening. I just want to share with everybody, like, we're on the struggle bus in March. We're on, as we go into March, you know, we're still in February. It's the tail end of February. We're on the struggle bus in the next few weeks, and the universe is teaching us to struggle with kindness in our hearts for ourselves. That's what this is, a message for everybody. We are facing shit that we'd probably rather not face, but sometimes life is like that and we just have to. You know, it's another fucking growth opportunity for sure. And we're learning, how can we face it not with false positivity, like false bravado, which doesn't solve problems, you know, and also not with like false lack of resource, like the false, like, oh, woe is me, I can never fix this problem, why everything happens to me. Both ends of the spectrum are false and keep us from our true power. So we are being asked to face this honestly with curiosity and a willingness to learn and grow, and also a willingness to believe that we have all the tools we need to learn and grow as we need to in this situation. It's a trust in ourselves. It's a trust in our continued growth. It's a growth mentality. Everybody, that's for everybody. Okay. Okay. So for you, Judith, this is about your hurt feelings. This is about the book of the past. And this is about all that you like. There's all these birds, there's all these letters turning into birds floating into this guy's heads. And this is about words in the past that are still living rent free in your head. And it's a time to look critically at some of those words right now and identify whether you want to allow them to continue to live in your head. They're going to have to start paying you some rent in the form of self-understanding, rent in the form of self-kindness, rent in the form of like learning how to move beyond other people's shitty beliefs about you, because you don't owe it to them to take those on. So it is time to serve an eviction notice to some things that are living rent free in your head but haven't helped you. That is what time it is at this moment. And that is an important part of growth. When we're here, it's because we've been doing the work. It's because we've been showing up for ourselves. And that's when our inner demons start to come up, and it's time to serve some eviction notices. Okay? Okay. Shelby's like, they be nesting. Migrate, birds. Yes, 1,000,000%. Just going to share this that Margaret put in the chat with YouTube for anyone who wants to add some energy to it. Prayers, love, and light to Ondine. Am I saying it right? Oh, Ondine. Yes. Margaret is giving you prayers, love, and light. She's just spelling your name differently than I would expect it to be spelled, because she's only heard me say it, not seen it physically written. She's sending you prayers, love, and light, Ondine. Okay. Who's next? We got Claire Bear, and then let's see who's on deck after that. After Claire, we got a Brittany, and we got a Carol, and then that's gonna be it. Claire, Brittany, Carol. And we're gonna do a lightning round here because it is 11:45, but I am going to make sure to get everyone in. Okay. Claire, we have the 7 of Swords. We have a sneakiness, and specifically this makes me think of something that I have noticed about you in the past, which is because you are someone who is um I want to say thoughtful spoken. You're someone who doesn't always like jump into a conversation and insert herself. You're somebody who listens thoughtfully and speaks when you feel you have something to contribute and when there's room for that in the conversation. And because of that, you probably see more than many people. And because also I think people tend to project onto quiet people, you see more and hear more than many people. And now is a time for you to continue with that thoughtfulness and ask yourself, as you're learning different things about different people around you, about the world around you, about your community. It's time to look out a little bit for number one. And I know that that can be a struggle for a lot of people. It's time to, I'm not telling you to like be a creep, you know what I mean? But you're learning things about people. Believe people when they show you who they are. You're learning things about the world around you. Believe the world when it shows you what it's going to do. And you yourself have strength and you yourself have resources. We see this guy listening thoughtfully and he's got a sword in his hand. Use your strength. Like, don't cut yourself off from your own strength and your own resources. When you know something and that something affects you, like, go ahead and be strong and go ahead and look out for yourself around that. As you learn different things, make sure that as everything you're learning, you're sitting back and being like, how does this affect me and how can I show up best for myself in this unfolding circumstance? That is your situation right now. um what a mysterious card to receive. So that's your energy, you know? Believe people when they tell you who they are. Believe as things are unfolding and the universe kind of shows you what's going on, believe it. You know, trust in your own judgment and discernment is what I am saying. And look out for number one. Look out for yourself because you deserve it. Who else is going to? You need to. You're important. Okay. Next up, we have Brittany. Brittany had a cat. Let's see if Brittany had a question. Um, Brittany did say, I'm hoping this month's card's not full because I'm kind of sick of seeing that everywhere. Well, I mean, you just had a birthday that's kind of already big full energy. By the way, happy birthday to my Aquarius and Pisces friends. Happy birthday to Judith. Happy birthday to Brittany. Happy birthday anyone else who's had a birthday recently because there's been a few of y'all. Happy birthday, y'all. Have a wonderful new year. May this be like a year of friggin' awesomeness for all of you. Okay, Brittany, pulling a card for you. Claire's like, forever mysterious. Thank you. Yeah, big mood, and I love it. And Shelby is adding be prepared. She's sending that to you, Claire, because I see that little sword emoji in there. Be prepared. Brittany, we have the Three of Cups. Serious, it's not the Fool. Are you happy? The Three of Cups is actually a really lovely card. We have this energy. There's three parties on this cup, but one is kind of like the camera view, right? We're clinking cups with three other people. These are people who see us for themselves. Three of Cups can also represent a triple goddess. If that is something that's meaningful to you in your spiritual practice, it's the threeness. It's the sense that two is better than one, three is better than two, because it's like this very powerful number. It's also the most stable configuration. A stool with three legs is more stable than a stool with four legs because it can't wobble. So consider the threeness of your life, Brittany. I'm just going to throw that information at you. Consider people in your life who really know you for who you are, as well as people who are showing green flags, people who are showing that they can be trustworthy and showing that it's okay to go deeper with them. Don't give people an inch when they give you red or yellow flags, but when someone keeps giving you green flags, move forward with that. That's really interesting. This is a time to surround yourself with people who really get you and drink from the cup of like self-celebration of the whole community. You know what I mean? Like, we're all celebrating ourselves, we're all owning our strengths. It's that energy. That is a Three of Cups. That's what you should do right now. Be with people who want to celebrate you. Don't be around people who tolerate you. Don't, like, let them tolerate themselves. They have their own issues. Spend time with people who celebrate you. Okay. Carol, this card is for you. This is our last card of the day. And then my friends who are in Keys to the Kingdom will be having class very shortly. Shelby's like open, watching, listening. Love it. Okay. Carol, we have the 10 of Swords. I want to ask you, if you're watching this directly, who do you relate to on this card? Do you relate to this sad guy with all the swords in him? Do you relate to the person kind of walking by and observing this? Do you relate to the birds who are just kind of flying around, perhaps acting as like helpful messengers, perhaps calling encouragement to the guy, we might imagine? Who do you relate to on this card? The Ten of Swords is a very difficult card. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. It's a card of like betrayal. It's a card of feeling like things we thought we could trust, we can no longer trust. And it's a card of hurt. You feel like the guy walking. Okay, that's really interesting. And what that So what's important for you to understand right now is that there's suffering in the world, Carol, and you have had your own suffering and it's probably bringing up, its own experiences, and you get to decide how you engage. You get to decide who you are. You get to decide how much you give to another person, and you know your own reasons for that. And also, when this card comes up, it often means that there is like past trauma to look at. If you're watching things unfold for someone else, or even like on the TV or on the news, and it's bringing up big feelings for you, it may be personal. And it might be worth looking at like what's coming up from my past that now my subconscious is like, oh, it's this again? We're talking about this. Like, it's time to have that loving conversation with yourself. It's time to let yourself do some healthy grieving, which is usually necessary. Grieving may include sadness. It may also include rage. It may include a feeling of like abject misery for a minute. And it might also include feelings of power as you realize that you're no longer in that situation and you have a clue now how to not be again. And so it's important to kind of move through all those emotions so that you put yourself back in your own equilibrium. And right now, if you're watching things unfold that are dramatic and hard, I'm going to give you the same advice I gave to a few other people today, which is pay thoughtful attention rather than being avoidant. Pay thoughtful attention because there's something for you to learn, and there's a way you can deepen your relationship with yourself and care for yourself better in this time if you're willing to pay that attention. Like, all that is needed is your curiosity and your own inner resources. That's actually all you need right now. Okay? Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for spending time with me today. My name is Rory Kelly. I am a tarot reader, podcaster, all around personal growth nerd. If you would like to order a reading at any point, it's only available through my Etsy shop, which is at the link in my bio and also in the description for everyone else. Link in my bio on Instagram. Everyone else is in the description that goes with this video. And you can use the code Witchy Weather Report. Just type it all out, one lengthy word, Witchy Weather Report, to get 10% off a tarot reading anytime you desire. I also have a podcast called Sassafras Cast, and I'm actually recording a new episode of that tomorrow. If you're a patron, you can tune in and you can be a part of the live broadcast. Same bat time, same bat channel. Tomorrow it will be at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and you'll be getting an unlisted YouTube link for that. And the topic this month is going to be banishing, releasing, and the saying of no, a topic that has been near and dear to my heart. Is there anything else I want to tell you? Oh, yes. Pardon me. Melissa Marie and I are hosting a new moon manifesting circle. It's going to be March 10th. It is going to be in person and virtual. If you're local to Long Island and can attend in person, we'd so love to have you there. But if you're not, you still can attend. You can attend via Zoom, and you can attend you can attend virtually and get the full experience of the circle. We will be doing some group ritual and meditation for manifesting what you want to bring into your life in the coming month. And we will have some art supplies so you can give those dreams and ideas physical form. We'll be adding each other's power to the collective so that we all have the oomph of the collective oomph as we manifest our individual desires. It's going to be a really fun and special night. And there is also a way, if you want me to pull a tarot card to help you in your journey, you can pay a little extra and get a one card pull from me. Actually, it's a great deal because it's cheaper than I list any reading. So if you're interested in that, I wish that I had a link to give you. It's a new moon manifesting circle. It's March 10th. I'm going to be posting that on all my channels a little later today, so I just want you to stay tuned. Okay? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. Everybody who is in tarot class, I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Okay, bye.